Before we begin today's story, take a moment to settle in. Find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. Tonight's story explores a quiet realization that changes everything in a relationship. Clara had always believed she was good at reading people. At 27, she worked as an archivist in a small museum in Portland. Most of her days were spent cataloging letters, journals, and fragments of forgotten lives. Patterns fascinated her. People always left clues behind about who they truly were. Which is why it unsettled her that she hadn't noticed the clues in her own relationship. She had been dating Nathan for 7 months. Nathan was 31, a freelance photographer who traveled frequently. They had met at an art exhibition where Clara was helping organize historical prints. Nathan had been hired to photograph the event. He had a way of speaking that made ordinary moments sound adventurous. Stories about desert skies, distant villages, and quiet nights under meteor showers. Clara admired that about him. At first, everything felt easy. Weekend walks through the city, late dinners after Nathan returned from trips, quiet evenings where Clara listened to stories about places she had never seen. But looking back, she realized something strange. Most of their conversations had been about Nathan. The first odd moment happened during dinner with friends. Someone asked Nathan how the two of them had met. Nathan smiled confidently and said they met at a bookstore. Clara blinked. It had been the gallery. Everyone laughed and moved on, and Nathan shrugged when Clara corrected him later. "Same kind of place," he said. Clara brushed it off. People forget small details. But the little moments kept happening. Nathan forgot the name of the museum where Clara worked. He forgot that she had a younger brother. He forgot the story she told him about moving across the country during college. Each time Clara told herself he was simply busy. Nathan traveled constantly. Deadlines, editing photos, planning the next assignment. Still, a quiet question began to grow inside her mind. Did he actually know her? The moment everything changed happened on a rainy Thursday evening. Nathan had just returned from Iceland. Clara picked him up from the airport and suggested they stop for coffee. They sat near the window of a quiet café while rain slid down the glass. Nathan spoke for 20 minutes about waterfalls, glaciers, and endless northern light. Clara listened and smiled. Then she asked a simple question. "Did you get the email I sent last week?" Nathan frowned. "What email?" Clara felt something tighten in her chest. She had told him about a job offer in Seattle, a senior archivist position she had worked toward for years. She had mentioned it several times before his trip. Nathan leaned back casually. "Oh, right, that thing." "Did you read it?" she asked quietly. "I skimmed it," he said. 7 months together, and he skimmed the message about one of the most important opportunities of her life. Clara tried to laugh. "You skimmed it." Nathan shrugged. "I figured you'd tell me the important parts later." For a moment, Clara simply stared at him. She knew the name of Nathan's first camera. She knew his favorite lens. She knew how he liked his coffee, and the story of the road trip he took after college. But Nathan didn't know the most basic pieces of her life. "Do you remember why this job matters to me?" she asked. Nathan hesitated. "Because it's a promotion?" "That's part of it." Clara leaned forward. "Do you remember the story I told you about my grandmother?" Nathan looked confused. "What story?" Clara had told him months earlier. Her grandmother had been an archivist too. She had inspired Clara to preserve forgotten stories. It was the reason Clara chose this career, and Nathan had forgotten. Clara felt a soft laugh escape her lips, though there was no humor in it. "Do you know where I was born?" she asked. Nathan hesitated. "Chicago?" "It wasn't Chicago. What's my brother's name? Nathan opened his mouth, then closed it. Outside, rain tapped steadily against the café window. Inside, Clara felt something fragile finally crack. For the first time, she understood something painful. Nathan hadn't meant to ignore her. He simply hadn't been paying attention. "Clara," Nathan said gently, noticing her expression. "You're making this a bigger deal than it is." She looked up at him. "Am I?" Nathan nodded. "My brain is full of things. I forget details." "These aren't details," Clara said softly. "These are the things that make me who I am." Nathan reached across the table. "You're overthinking this." And suddenly, Clara understood something clearly. In Nathan's life, she had never been the center of the story. She had been a background character. Clara stood slowly. For the first time that evening, she felt strangely calm. "I don't think you meant to hurt me," she said. But not noticing someone can hurt just as much as ignoring them. Nathan looked stunned. "Are you breaking up with me over a few forgotten facts?" Clara shook her head. "No." She paused. "I'm walking away because I deserve someone who wants to know me." Outside, the rain had softened to a mist. Clara stepped onto the sidewalk and breathed in the cool evening air. It hurt. 7 months of memories don't disappear instantly, but beneath the sadness there was something else. Relief, because the quiet question that had been growing inside her mind finally had an answer. She had not been invisible. She had simply been standing beside someone who never looked closely enough to see her, and now she was ready to find someone who would. This concludes today's story. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to support our work.